We are recording. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Humans of Tech series. We are taking this one to YouTube. So it won't just be on LinkedIn, but you can also find it on YouTube. So we're very excited about that. But we are extremely excited for the call that I had this morning, and it was Scott Augenbaum. And he just, reached out, and I was like, come on today. Can you meet this afternoon? And I mean, here he is. He is a retired FBI agent, cybersecurity, all things cybersecurity, and just very, very, very happy to have you on, Scott. I, have your book right here. And so, we're finally getting the chance to meet today, and very excited. So
I'm so excited to be on this show. I hear so many good things. I just want both of you to promise me when you get really famous that you're going to remember me and take me along for the ride. Okay?
Scott, caught off guard is right. Like, my hair is still wet. I didn't even have a chance to blow dry it. I was like, I need to look a little professional for this.
Oh, come on. We're amongst friends here.
Okay, so we're gonna kick things off with questions. As usual, well, actually not as usual. We're doing two questions, right? First one is random. Second will not be so random, but will be a great question as well. Yeah, are we ready?
I'm ready. Go throw it at me. Come on.
I always get a little nervous because I get nervous you're gonna get like a question that doesn't really justify who you are.
I'll just make it up like I usually do. Don't worry.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yes.
Have you had any particular influential mentors or role models throughout your career?
Wow, that is that's a great one. But let me just start out. When you say role models, I'm going to really, first of all, I had so many role models at the FBI, but this one I'm going to have to give it credit for my mom. Because I grew up in New York, raised by a single parent. And if anyone here was raised by a single parent or is a single parent, you'll know how really challenging it is. And I grew up I graduated high school in the 80s. There was no such thing as helicopter parenting. And my mom was just excited. When I went from 8th grade to 9th grade, she was really excited. When I graduated high school with a 72 average, and I got accepted into community college. She was excited I was going to community college. I didn't have the heart to tell her that in order to get accepted into community college, all you needed was a high school diploma and not be convicted of a felony. Convicted was the key term. So I get to community college, and I'm like,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you mentioned your school in itself was surrounded by quite a tough crowd. So
growing up in New York, it was like either you were predator or prey. And I learned to run very fast when I was a kid. Okay. We were having that discussion. It really wasn't an easy journey. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. But I get to community college and I take my bad habits in high school and I graduate community college with a 2.27 grade point average. Now, that's somewhere between below average and mediocre. And my mom filled out an application for me to become a file clerk with the FBI. And because of that launched my career as a clerical employee in the New York office from age 20 to 26. And then I started my journey in 1988, became an agent in 1994, got into cyber in 2003. I retired in 2018 after an amazing 30-year career, loving what I'm doing. And my mom, who's 89 years old, and I go home and she still tells me, if it was because of me, your mother, you got the job because I kept you away from all your pothead friends from high school.
So she knows her worth, that woman.
Yeah. So there are a lot of people who influenced me in my career. I have so many to name, but if it wasn't for my mom, I wouldn't be here in this role as an a retired FBI agent, author, keynote speaker, and hanging out with you guys.
question about that. What do you think made your mom fill out that application?
Because she didn't believe in me and she wanted me to get a job that had health insurance and a pension. I'm sorry that I couldn't give you a better answer or make up, okay? Because that's really it. Like, you know, in New York, like I was destined, you know, with that kind of grade point average, I was destined to be a civil servant, like a bus driver, you know, and that's it.
Well, what the thing is, I ask actually because as a mother myself, sometimes I wonder, and as a helicopter parent, I unfortunately do wear that flag. I wonder when do you step in, right? And when do you not? But you know, in that moment, as you're saying, that one step in kind of changed the trajectory of your entire life.
And we talk about that so often because I have an 18-year-old and a 21-year-old, and I'm going to be honest, I'm happy they're not going into law enforcement. I never push them. I want them to do what they want to do. But we're always telling, you know, as a parent, let your kids do things on their own. Don't fill it out for them. But if it wasn't for my mom, I have no idea where I would be. So, you know, it's just interesting. Sometimes life chooses you and you don't choose it just because of one little thing that was done.
Yeah. So I think we want to take this in a little bit of a different direction now, just because of all the experience that you have and with the holidays coming up. So Kelly, do you want to take over?
This holiday special. And, you know, I mean, I feel like every 10 minutes I get a ring at my doorbell with another package. But with everything going on and, you know, you're putting in all your information online, Scott, for, you know, you can just do Face ID and your credit card is just all populated, you know, how are you guiding individuals to just be safer on the holidays, really? Because this is a really, really exciting time for cyber criminals because everyone is doing and putting all their information online.
It's a huge time for cyber criminals because we're all in a rush. We're all looking for the best deals. And the cyber criminals are going after us with different social engineering techniques. But before I go into that, let me just kind of give you a little background on how I can speak to this. Because during my decades with the FBI, I've interviewed almost 1,000 cyber criminals. And I met these people face to face. Some were very, very large organizations, but a lot of them were people just like us. And nothing broke my heart as much. So I want to kind of go over with you the 4 truths about cybersecurity, because I can tell you what these tips are, and everything I talk about is common sense. But common sense is not common practice. And a lot of the reasons why we as a society are failing in information security is because we fail to see the why. And when I say fail at information security, the cybercrime problem keeps going up. We keep spending more money. What does that mean? Not doing things right. So I'm going to go over with both of you, and I'm going to put both of you on the spot here because I take over shows. You know what I mean?
Turn around now.
Let me tell you. Okay.
My camera's not working. My camera's
all right. It's going to be easy because both of you involved in the world of information security, you're going to agree with me. Here's the first truth about cybersecurity. None of my victims ever expected to be a victim. They didn't feel that they fit the victim profile. I don't make enough money. Like my mom would tell me, Scott, why would the cyber criminals want to target me? I only have $1,200 in my bank account. Well, I'm like, Mom, what if they steal that money from you? Oh, that's bad. So let's kind of think about that. And I want both of you, you know, since you're both in the industry, how do you deal with customers or clients in the world of information security who never expect to be a victim?
I think that's yes. The short answer is yes, right? Everyone says my business is too small or my organization doesn't matter. I think people don't recognize that it's not, we're not looking at, you know, Kelly per se. We're just trying to get in anywhere.
Great.
Yeah, also it's like, you know, it could be a small school, but this small school that's interacting with a large vendor, you know, all the large vendor might be getting hacked through the school. And it's like, those different avenues. People don't think of just, it's a small public school, we're not going to get targeted. We don't have the money or the funding. It's like, no, but you work with a large vendor who has a lot more money that, there's so many different avenues to just getting that information that is, what they want.
Yeah. And I'm here to say that there's no such thing as a victim profile. The cyber criminals are going to target you. They're going to target your family. And let me take it one step deeper. Nashville, I'm in Nashville, Silicon Valley of healthcare. I've been talking to healthcare companies for decades saying, are you concerned? And they would go, no, we're not concerned. We're not a large company. And I'd go, I had a $500 million company say they weren't a large company. $500 million. Well, compared to HCA, they're not a large company. So that's the whole thing. That's point number one. Nobody expects to be a victim. The second truth about cybersecurity is when the cyber criminals steal your stuff. And over the holiday shopping season, Kelly, what do the cyber criminals want to steal from people like us and our parents and our families?
They want our credit card numbers, bank account information, Venmos. You can now pay through Venmo, which is just wild. Okay. But yeah, you can do that.
So the second truth, and Carolyn, what about big companies? What do the cyber criminals want to steal from large organizations?
Data, social security numbers,
intellectual property. Well, and also ransomware. We'll save ransomware for next week because that'll take us down a rabbit hole that will go on and on forever. But when the cyber criminals steal your stuff and you get impacted, and just think about this. I just had someone call me up yesterday because the cyber criminals got into their PayPal account and were able to siphon $1,000 out of their bank account. When you contact law enforcement doesn't have a magic wand. We can't put the bad guys in. We can't get your stuff back. It's very, very challenging. Leads to the third truth about cybersecurity. When I was a young FBI agent and I described what I did, bad people did bad things to good people. I worked with state and local cops. We put bad guys in jail. How come that doesn't? Where are today's cyber criminals, ladies?
Behind the screens.
Where are they behind the screen? Where in the world? Are they sitting in their mother's basement in Hoboken, New Jersey?
They can be.
In most cases, we're dealing with foreign adversaries.
Yes, but they can be anywhere, right?
But during my decades, and this is what I want to explain, during my decades with the FBI, almost 98% of the bad guys that I dealt with were located either in Russia,
look at that,
China, West Africa, all these threat countries that we don't have a good working relationship with.
Yeah. I didn't realize that, to be honest.
Yeah. And
that's true, because then we don't have relationships to get anything back because those countries, aren't our best friends.
Yeah. So let's think about this. And this is really, and this is really was the changing point in my career, because I dealt with 1,000 victims. I couldn't get their money back. I just got a telephone call probably about 2 months ago from a gentleman whose dad got ripped off in a romance scam. And I said, how much money did he lose? And he said $1.2 million.
My goodness.
And I was like, just get that pit in your stomach. And then we couldn't put the bad guys in jail. And then, so how does that make you feel? You're talking to a retired FBI agent who's telling you that the bad guys steal your stuff, you're probably not getting it back, and no one's going to jail. How does that make you feel?
Pretty helpless.
It's all on the individual itself. You can lead them, but you have to follow it.
You know how that made me feel? Really depressed. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't join the FBI. I mean, when I was a young agent, the harder I worked, the more bad people and I put in jail, the better I felt about myself. But I kept getting beat up by victims and kept getting completely frustrated. Now within the FBI, we have something called the Employee Assistance Program. That's where you go when you get depressed. But I was the Employee Assistance Program guy. I couldn't talk to myself about it. And then I discovered the fourth truth about cybersecurity, and that's going to lead us in, that a majority of the cybercrime victimizations that I dealt with impacting individuals just like us easily could have been prevented if my end users were only armed with a couple of key pieces of information. And that was the game changer for me. And that's when I realized that I wanted to help people because I have the ability to tell the stories to get you to change your mindset. And that's what I do today. I come in, I get brought into organizations to help them change their culture within the organization. Because if 90% of bad things could be prevented, then why don't we do that first? That's where I sit. And I wrote a book called The Secret to Cybersecurity, a simple plan to protect your family and business. And if you're looking to read a good book by an FBI agent who saved the day and put a lot of bad guys in jail, don't read my book, okay? That's my book is to share that with you. And I'm going to be giving away a couple of copies. So we're going to make people stick around for that. So that's so how does the four truths that I just talked to you, how do you feel about that?
I feel like they're very human, right? They're very simple, like you said. I think that's my big takeaway, right? Very simple, very logical, very human.
And it's just the bottom line is like, you don't think it's going to happen to you until it does. Like, you're going to get hounded to change your password, 5 times, and you just put it off, you put it off, you put it off, and then you change it to an easy password. And then it's like, then you're done. It takes is one time to really. And
especially during this time of year, which is the holiday shopping season, because between Black Friday and Cyber Monday, I think 95% of the US population purchased at least one product. And now, yesterday was what I call Cyber Criminal Tuesday. It's a make-believe holiday that I've registered a domain for that. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But what happens? Just let's think about this. All the cyber criminals need to do today, and they're going to do it for the rest of the month, is they're going to send an email to everyone in the US saying that your package has been delayed in shipping coming from the Postal Service. Today, 2 days after Cyber Monday, how many people are waiting for a package?
Oh, tons. And I think I saw your post on LinkedIn. Yeah, everybody's waiting for, I've already started getting them, the UPS package ones. And I wonder too, I get the text messages of the deals. Which one is going to be actually the store that I wanted, and which one's going to be a hacker trying to just get me to click a link for a deal that doesn't exist?
And that's where, as there's so many products that are available on the market, what's going to stop us from getting a text message? Because now, remember, it's all about social engineering. And what are we talking about? We're talking about phishing emails, not coming from Boris Badenoff at cybercriminal.org. It's coming from Amazon. It's coming from Best Buy. It's coming from your bank. It's going to say that your packet, that you've been overbilled. So what do? Don't click on those links. Go to the website itself and check. Usually it's a scam. If not, they're going to go to the text messages, and they're going to hit us up on text messages. And the message that I got that I posted on was an iMessage. Do you ever stop and think what's the difference between an iMessage and a text? I'm going to be honest, I don't. How can we expect other people? But we have to be aware that these scams are coming. They're going to come through telephone calls. I just had a situation the other day, and this is something that nobody really talks about. Had a woman who went to Google and typed in the word Amazon Prime shopping deals. What percentage of the population do you think is doing that exact search? Take a guess. A
80.
lot?
Yeah, a lot.
She goes over there and she hits the first one, which is the sponsored link. She hits that. You're on Google, you got to be safe. And she goes to a website that looks just like Amazon. And it asks her to enter in her username and password to get the 50% off coupon. And what do you think she does?
Yeah, she doesn't.
And then she does it, enters in her password, and she used the same password for multiple platforms. And
So question. So if I'm going to call my mother today and say, hey, mom, over this holiday season, I understand number one, I'm going to tell her, do not click on any links on your phone. Go to the website and verify if what they're being asked for or the deals actually exist on their website. But in this scenario, what do I need to be telling my mom? Don't click sponsored links?
well, that's the whole thing. I mean, we have to be really careful. I mean, we're talking about web surfing. We're not even talking about this. Here's the thing that we have to know. And how do I spread this message? And I couldn't explain this to my mom. Just think about this. Mom, I want to let you know, and luckily my mom's not on the computer. I kept her in the dark about the internet. Don't tell her before you meet her.
I'm trying to figure out to my mother how to explain AI to her now. Like, you got to start using it. I don't know how to do it.
But think about this. The cyber criminals are able to go out, and we call it malvertising. They're able to register, they're able to pay, and usually with a stolen credit card, and they're able to place their own links into sponsored ads.
Okay.
So when you do that, you have to be really careful. Just go to the legitimate websites. And I know that's hard because we're all trying to find the best deals. The other important piece of advice that I'm going to tell people, use your credit card, not your debit card this holiday shopping season when you're going to purchase anything online. Because credit cards have a lot more protection.
Okay.
That's a very good point.
So I've got tip number 2, credit, not debit, although I'm a points girl, so I would never use my debit card. But
yeah, me too. But a lot of people, unfortunately, can't get a credit card, so they are actually using their debit card. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is.
okay.
Very important to keep that in mind. Also, when we are shopping online, let's make sure that we're looking at that it's a secure server, HTTPS. Very, very important to make sure that that is a legitimate account.
Okay.
And also another thing that's really important as we're going and we're using things like Venmo and we're using things like the Cash app, because a lot of people are shopping on Amazon Marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
And people are not Amazon, Facebook Marketplace. Mm-hmm. And when you are doing those types of things, if you send somebody a deposit, it's like the same thing you gave them cash.
Right.
So make sure that you verify.
I would say even to that Facebook Marketplace point, like I've tried to sell things on there or sell tickets and it's like scam after scam after scam. Like, you know, you have to be very, because they'll ask for your Venmo and then it's, you know, it's game over.
And then a couple of other things that are really important: identify your shopping accounts that you have and make sure that we're not using the same password for multiple accounts. Mm-hmm. And we're also using something known as two-factor authentication.
Yeah.
Most people are not using two-factor authentication on their personal accounts. And that's the one thing that none of my victims, they all had in common. Nobody used two-factor. And that would prevent the majority of the incidents impacting regular people just like us.
Okay. So, Scott, if I have to summarize a couple of tips for folks out there, I'm going to repeat them again. It would be go to websites. Don't click on links, right? Credit card versus debit card, if possible. Verify, which means verify that it's a secure server, verify the website. If it's too good to be true, we know the drill. It probably is. Change passwords and investigate what two-form factor identification. I'm like,
got it. It's really being aware of these things, and it's realizing that these things happen, and just remember. And let's go back to the 4 truths. Nobody's expecting to be a victim this holiday shopping season. When you're a victim, law enforcement doesn't have a magic wand. We can't put the bad guys in jail, but 90% of it could have been prevented. And for your listeners who stuck with us, because I know this was a longer one, what I want
we broke my only rule. Well, 2 rules. You broke our only 2 rules. It was 2 questions, 10 minutes.
sorry. I'm sorry. You know I can't answer a yes or no question. I'm sorry I'm not as cool as your other guest and everything like
We
that.
love it. We
I
just
am
cut them
sorry.
short. I just couldn't do it, right, Kelly? We
Right.
just cut them short.
And we're gonna have to do another one too, so you know,
Yeah,
that'll be
I guess so. But what I want to do for everyone who put up with me today, connect with me on LinkedIn and say, I put up with you today. Can you send me a copy of your book? And I'm going to provide them with an audio copy and a downloadable copy of my book.
Love it.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Oh, yes, I want a real copy though.
Okay.
A piece.
I got
I got
mine. Go get yours.
I,
Your link though.
I got it, Jersey girl.
Scott, it was lovely to have you on here.
Well, thank you so much.
All right.
Next time there will be another one. So.
All right.